Good morning, everybody. Let's do a quick sound check while everyone's logging in. If you can hear me, can you just tell us where you're from in the chat box? All right. Super. It looks like everybody can hear me okay. All right. We're going to just give it maybe another minute or so for everyone to log on. We may hit capacity. If that is the case and you have a colleague who is trying to join, please let them know. This will be emailed out within about 48 hours, so they will get all the content, and we will make sure to figure out how to increase capacity for the future. Okay, let's give it just another 30 seconds or so and we'll get started. All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining us today for our first Community Connect Forum. My name is Kate Ressler. I will be our moderator for today. I have Virginia Ferrari and Michelle Heller. They are our allied health content strategists here with us. They both come from an education background, so they are able to provide some tips and tricks from their past experience, and they also have in-depth knowledge on the world of allied health. They are going to be leading this discussion today. I'm here to monitor the chat, and I've got my colleague Stacy. She is pushing the slides forward for us. So we are trying some new things here today. First, we're going to explore some polling, so be on the lookout for that. We are also encouraging everybody to participate with the chat. Stacy, if you can just push it one more forward. So if you have specific questions, I would like for you to put them in the Q&A. You can find that button at the bottom of your Zoom window. We also want to encourage everyone to share their perspective, their tips and tricks, their stories into the chat box. We are going to try, I'm putting the disclaimer out there, try to poll people live and bring them on to speak from time to time throughout this presentation. Please be patient with us. It's the first time we're trying this. We hope it'll go great because we think it's really important for us to be able to connect you all. The other thing is when the polls come live, we will keep them open for about 15 to 20 seconds or so until the majority of you have answered, and then we will share those results live. So with that said, we want to kick off the first poll. Stacy, can you move to the next slide, please? So first and foremost, how is the transition to online learning going? Here comes the poll. If you can go ahead and give that your best answer, we will end the poll in about 10 seconds or so. Okay. I'm going to share these results with you all. It looks like overall things are going okay, and that's okay. We're here today to figure out how we can make it good or even very good moving forward. I've got another follow-up question for you, and we want you to drop your opinions in the chat box. Stacy, can you transition to the next? So if you rated very good, and there was 31 of you, according to this poll, we want to hear why everything is going well. What has made it a good experience? Drop that into the chat box. We're going to start compiling these, and we will share them when we send out the recording. Okay, and with that, I'm going to drop this. Oh, we do have, Stacy, can you move it one more slide, please? Okay, we have one more poll question before we dig into the content. We did see quite a few of you say that you were facing some difficulties, some challenges. So let us know, what is the greatest challenge you've had so far? I'm going to give it just a couple more seconds. Okay. As you can see, it looks like student access to technology is proving to be the biggest challenge. We will be discussing that a little bit later on, but now I'm going to hand this on over to Virginia to kick this off and let you know what the 5 E's are that we will be covering. Virginia?
Yes, good morning, everyone. So thanks again for joining. We really appreciate it. I'm just going to pull up a little more information I want to share with you, and let's get started. So the 5 E's that we're going to touch on today are empathy, encouraging, embracing, ensuring, and engaging your students. So you may be asking, what do these 5 E's mean, or how does it apply to me? So most of us are always interested in that broader concept of how to engage students. And what I've found is that in order to effectively engage students, you must have those first 4 of the E's. Michelle and I want to share some of our experience and tips that worked for us. While many of you may already be doing these, our goal is to create a forum to share best practices, not just our thoughts, but your thoughts too. So let's start with our first E, empathy. And in this situation, I think empathy for some very profound personal situations. So many students may have jobs or families that take up their time. Many, or maybe they lost their job, or a family member recently lost their job. They might be struggling to pay essential bills, rent, or buy food. They have children at home and they need to care for them and homeschool. So how are you able to display empathy for their situation? There are likely to be very extraordinary and heart-wrenching situations, and also some huge successes. So Michelle, would you also like to share a few?
Well, yes, I would, Virginia. Thank you so much. As Virginia said, empathy is so important. Empathize and also be thinking about the mental health of your students right now. During our previous webinar, I discussed the importance of caring. Our mantra as educators should be caring before sharing. This is even more important during an event like COVID-19. As Virginia stated, many of our students are laid off or have lost their jobs completely, and even more disturbing and stressful, many of their significant others have also lost their jobs. So they just don't know how they're going to pay their bills, keep their kids caught up with their responsibilities, and complete the work that we've assigned them. Many, like us right now, feel like the walls in their homes are just imploding right now. They're tired of being cooped up, just like we are, and unable to connect with friends and family members. And even, believe it or not, they're also tired of not being able to attend school. This is definitely going to play heavily on their psyche, as anxiety, depression, and even despair in some cases take their minds hostage. Think about some activities that may help to elevate their mood. An educational platform company called Open Presence recently previewed an article on their website titled 53 Virtual Ideas to Keep College Kids Engaged During COVID-19. Many of these activities add some fun to your classes. One example they shared is to start a collaborative playlist with your students. I know they're going to snicker at some of our selections, but that's okay. Consider hosting a virtual dance party before class starts or even during a break, or to energize students and elevate their spirits, or in my case, to give them a good laugh. Even door decorating contests can give the students something fun to do and kind of take their mind off of the harsh reality of COVID-19, if even just for a few minutes. There should be, I don't know, Kate, were you able to put the website?
I did just drop it into the chat.
Okay.
Presence.io. just to look for a chat from me, Kate Ressler.
Yeah.
Hey, Stacey, can
Yeah.
you move to the next slide, please?
Okay. So yes, take that link and go to it, and you'll find lots and lots of great, engaging, fun things to do to kind of lighten the mood a little bit in your online environments. Okay. Along with empathy, you want to be compassionate and understanding. You are instrumental in changing the mindset of students from that face-to-face learning that they're used to the reality of today. Now, let's face it, some students just don't fare well in an online environment. They may ask questions that have been previously answered in discussion boards or even during online discussions. They may be technically challenged and just really struggle with the technology that they're using. This isn't a time to get frustrated. Instead, it's a time to extend patience, a time to be flexible. Walk them through their challenges as many times as it takes to really help them feel comfortable. They may struggle right now, especially to complete assignments on time because guess what? They've got kids 24/7. So be a bit flexible and let them know that you are empathetic and that you're understanding of their situations. Use the circumstances of today as an opportunity, not an obstacle. This is an opportunity to connect with students in a new way, a time to get to know your students in their own environments. We haven't had that opportunity before. We may discover some new things. You may meet their kids, I'm sure a lot of you already have, their pets, and even their significant others during online sessions. Or you might even discover a unique hobby that you didn't know about before. Take this opportunity to let students know you a little bit. Well, that is, of course, within the teacher-student boundaries. Use these opportunities to build your relationship with your students. And with that, we have a new discussion question. Kate?
Okay, Stacey, can you bump it? Oh, there we go. So we would like for you to drop in the chat box if you would like to speak about some of the personal situations that have come up that you've encountered during this crisis and maybe how you've dealt with them. You can either just share that information in the chat box, or if you would like to speak, just let us know directly. We will attempt to pull you live. It looks like a lot of the things that you've talked about so far, Michelle,
Yeah.
distractions at home because of kids, cabin fever. That's me also.
Me too.
Homeschooling kids at home. Oh, it looks like Lynn Habley would like to speak. Lynn, I'm going to pull you up. Okay, Lynn, you're live. Can you test it out?
Take your, look, is her microphone on mute?
More. Lynn, maybe you have yourself on mute. Can you try it again? It looks like maybe that isn't working quite as we had intended. Let's give this another.
Your mic is in the lower left corner.
Yes, Lynn, if you can see if that is. Oh, and Virginia says you can hold the space bar to temporarily unmute. Okay. Oh, it looks like Sarah says we don't have, okay. All right, well, we're gonna just keep on moving and hopefully we can figure this out along the way.
Okay, well, you know, I'm kind of watching the chat box myself a little bit, and definitely a lot of the stuff we're saying you are encountering as well. These are great comments. We're going to take all these comments and put them in a document and make them available to you guys so that we can share what everybody is encountering right now. And hopefully some of you can write some of your solutions as well. That would be really great. So thank you so much for sharing some of your encounters. All right, so you can see how a natural segue from empathy is encouragement. That is encouraging personal connection. This ties really deeply with empathy. Communicate, 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 communicate. Have I said it enough? All right, and communicate often. This just can't be overemphasized right now. Reach out to students regularly, particularly if they're not reaching out to you, because we all know if they're not reaching out to you, there's a reason. Send them notes of encouragement, or better yet, pick up the phone and give them a call. Maybe you'll want to FaceTime them or use the WhatsApp video to connect. And with that, Virginia has some more insights for us. Virginia?
Sure. So I would say that now more than ever, it's important that we turn around any online negatives and put a positive spin on. And unfortunately, positive learning environments don't just happen on their own. They must be created. Some of these are really quite simple, starting with the best time to start developing a positive learning environment is in the first days and weeks, but it's still never too late to start, even in this current environment. Positivity is a key component of a positive learning environment. Interacting with students in a positive manner, exhibiting positive behaviors, and maintaining a positive attitude is one of the most important steps. So I would say you need to be their cheerleader, share enthusiasm, help students with time management and organizational skills. In the past, I would share my cell phone number with students and let them know it was okay to call or text me if they needed help. In all of my online classes, I never had anyone abuse that privilege, although there was a few times that maybe the messages came in a little later than I preferred, but I would still respond to them so they could keep going if that's when they were doing their assignments. I would also let the class know ahead of time when I had any unavailable time so they would know when they could expect a reply from me. And I would always grade assignments as soon as they completed them and give positive, constructive feedback. So that's great for students, but it was also great for me as an instructor. If I waited until the due date and had many assignments to grade at once, it would be a challenge and also stressful to me. And when that happens, I'm not the best instructor and advocate that I need to be for the students. So moving on, Kate is going to put out additional discussion questions for you before we move on to our next E.
All right. So what methods and tools are you using to communicate with your students? We know that Zoom has become wildly popular. Are you using Zoom? Are you using other tools? Let us know. Drop it in the chat box, and we will start to compile those tools for you in our follow-up. I see if there's a question in there. Is this webinar available again for other staff? We will have it available after the fact. We will be emailing this out to you all. I will also make it available on demand. So anybody who hasn't registered so far can just register and access it immediately afterwards. It looks like Zoom, WhatsApp, Google Classroom, the Remind app. I haven't heard of that before, but that sounds like something that could be really useful. Email, Hangouts. Super. Okay, we have a lot to gather and plenty of information to share. So let's keep on moving. Stacy, we do have one more quick question, or really kind of an opportunity to share. We're going to attempt this again. Do you have a success story of how you encouraged personal connection with your students in the last couple of weeks while you've all been remote? What's worked well for you? What maybe surprised you? Share that in the chat box, and we will hopefully be able to pull somebody live here any second. If somebody would like to speak again, raise your hand and we're going to try it again. Okay, it looks like everybody's still talking about the tools they're using. Oh, and Elaine Shoot says that she asks a funny question for them to answer to keep them engaged. I like that idea. Humor always resonates. And we did get a question from, Matthew. It is hard to communicate with your students at a time like this if the student body has limited online connectivity. That is something we will get into here shortly. Okay, let's keep moving. Stacy, can you advance to the next slide? All right, Virginia, you're up.
Sure. So now turning to our third E today, embracing technology. So this is a vital element to engaging students for success. We must have that technology piece working for us, especially in today's environment, to succeed. And Michelle and I will share with you some of our thoughts as we look forward to your feedback and sharing experiences too. So what do we mean by embracing technology? As instructors or administrators, we must first embrace that technology before we can expect our students to. I recommend making IT your best friend. Have their direct email and phone number on sticky notes all over, and let your students know how to reach IT as well. I would always have students copy me whenever they would contact IT so I could follow up or escalate as needed. Otherwise, you wouldn't know when a student was having technology issues. Login password retention is another issue. Aren't all of us overloaded with username and passwords? I would keep a log of those username and passwords since IT might also be overloaded in this situation. And in certain third-party applications that I was using during instruction, I would keep a spreadsheet of student login and passwords. This way, if they forgot it or got locked out, I could provide that assistance. So Michelle, do you want to share some more?
Sure. First of all, remember browser issues. Some programs work better in Chrome or Firefox, and some may only work in Internet Explorer. Be certain that you read those technical specifications for all products that you're using, including the LMS. I know sometimes we ignore those things, and then we find out it's a problem after we've encountered many issues. So make certain that you're reading those technical requirements before you get started, and really be certain that you're also sharing that information with your students, because you don't want to have a bunch of issues. Now, when you do run into an issue, what we suggest is that you keep a log and share that information with your IT support. Also, keep a log that talk about workarounds for technical issues that can't be resolved for whatever reason. That way, if the issue comes up again, you'll know how to address it. And if you don't consider yourself tech savvy, right here, grab a buddy instructor and practice your online techniques. If you don't have a buddy instructor, hey, practice on a family member. Get comfortable in your online new shoes. Maybe role play using Zoom or another platform. Check your online audio. Avoid excess noise or distractions during live sessions. Ask for additional guidance on using all the features of your LMS from a seasoned online instructor. I have heard a lot of instructors say that they didn't even know all the capabilities of their LMS. So it's really important that you go to the people that are in the know about what is available, and to hopefully they can help you learn how to use that technology as well. And with that, Kate's got a new poll question.
All right.
And we've seen a lot of this so far, but this is going to be a little
Okay.
structured.
Launching this poll here. What LMS are you using? Is everybody able to see the poll? No. Okay,
I don't
let's
see the
try
poll, I just
relaunching
see the
poll.
screen.
There.
There we go.
Okay. Okay, I'm going to end this poll and share the results. It looks like Google Classroom is by far and away the most popular LMS that's being used right now. If you are using Google Classroom and have some really unique tips and tricks, definitely drop them into the chat box. Okay. Are there any other platforms or applications outside of your LMS that you have found to be incredibly useful right now? Obviously, we talked about a little bit about, I know Zoom has come up quite a bit. Are there any other surprising tools that maybe you have found along the way? It looks like Microsoft Teams, WebEx, Kahoot, Facebook Pages, Flipgrid, that is a new one for me. LinkedIn. Oh, hey, and I believe it was Cassie. She's saying if anybody is using Canvas, they would love to get tips and tricks for that if you are using that as your LMS.
So I was a Canvas user when I was teaching, and I think what I used is the conferences tab. I don't know if you're familiar with that, but the conferences tab is where I would do the live sessions. And I would always prepare a PowerPoint, but just with the bullets on them, and then we would talk it through, let students come off mute as we would attend at least once a week, have those live sessions, and they would also remain recorded for up to 2 weeks. So that was a feature that I used a lot.
Lisa, LMS stands for Learning Management System, I believe.
Correct.
Okay, let's keep on moving. We are getting so much great feedback in the chat box. Keep it up, everybody. I know we hope to continue to make this just as interactive. So now, Michelle, I believe you are up next.
Yes, okay. Well, now that you've embraced technology from your side, right? Okay, next up is the fourth E, and that is ensuring that students have access. And we've seen some of you are still having a problem with that. Once again, you see how the natural alignment of all the E's that we're discussing today have the ultimate goal of engaging your students. Before we start this section, we're going to ask Kate to put up one more poll question.
Okay, here you go. How do your students access your LMS or other online tools? Basically, what is their best way to get internet access? We're hoping that maybe we can find some trends from this and maybe dig into some solutions if you are running into problems. And also you can select more than one answer for this. So if you're finding that your students are accessing the internet through multiple means, you can check more than one. I'll give it another 5 seconds or so. Okay, it looks like accessing the internet through their smartphone is by far and away the most popular, followed by a personal internet connection at home, which is certainly most ideal. We will dig into this more now. Okay. Virginia,
It's me, Michelle. I'm going
back to Michelle. Okay.
Yeah, okay, great. Thanks, Kate. Appreciate your running those polls for us. And again, we're not able to share everything that you guys are putting in right now, but we will make that available to you. So just stay tuned, right? Okay, so it looks like you're all doing a great job ensuring students have access, but just as a reminder, hopefully by this point, all your students have access to a computer or a tablet. If not, are they accessing via their smartphones? Keep in mind that there are distinct challenges with using a smartphone. So you'll want to make certain that you're communicating extra special with these particular people because they may not be able to get to all the resources that they need. Now I'm going to turn it over to Virginia now, who's got a few more considerations to think about. Virginia?
Sure. So when I think about ensuring our students have access, obviously we talk about the Wi-Fi, internet, LMS features. How does each student access the internet? And what flexibility and options can you offer? So if they're using a hotspot or even their mobile phone to hotspot the internet, what about overage costs if they don't have an unlimited plan? So that's a big consideration. Think about how you'll accommodate some of those limitations. And I think we're very fortunate in this time of the COVID-19 that some cable and telephone companies are offering free internet to students. Some are lifting limits or adding those premium features for free. So if they haven't already done that, make sure that you take advantage of those great resources right now. I know Google has been providing Chromebooks in some situations. Adigy is a cloud-based Apple device management platform that's free for 60-day access for schools. And these are just a few, and I'm sure all of you have found lots more that we can share as well, which is really important. So be sure to take advantage of as many as possible because it's important that we get the students up and running as soon as possible. And then once you've ensured that student access, you want to get them comfortable in the features of the LMS or application that you're using to instruct online. So perhaps create a scavenger hunt that forces them to locate resources within the LMS and become familiar with all the features. Perhaps have an interactive or sharing session on sharing how everyone is coping and managing with online education, and where everyone shares their tips and tricks. And then each class you can build on that. So every week you can build on all those tips until you have that really great resource and your go-to on how to make sure your students are able to access online. So are there some more discussion questions,
Yeah.
Kate, that we want
So
to
I
put up
think
here?
we just wanted to make sure that if you have a helped remedy and access problem for any of your students, can you please just drop those tips into the chat box? We know this is a pressing issue for a lot of folks. I do know that FCC has put forth an effort to encourage internet providers across the country to support students, especially right now. And you can go to the FCC's website to access a list of all the different providers that are contributing their part in some way. So they may have some more information on who works in your local area that can help out students. Okay, let's keep on moving, but please do put those access tips into the chat box. We will collect those again.
So I'm going to continue on, and we're going to address our 5th E for today, which is that engaging students important topic. So now that we've addressed student access, you can see how each of those E's that we've covered circle back to engaging students, that you can't engage them unless you have those technology pieces, unless you have the empathy to share with students as well. So this is our last E for today. And for me, this topic is endless. There's so much opportunity for us to share with each other. And I think this is where we'd like in the forum here for you to share some of your best practices and tips. And first up for me might be explaining online etiquette. So I'm sure many of you have experienced some less than stellar online behavior from students from time to time. Just be sure to set up clear expectations and guidelines. When it comes to assignments, I think you want to be a little bit flexible to accommodate those new to the online environment. Again, encourage and guide those struggling and congratulate those that are excelling. Some personal tips, I would say make sure you set office hours. You'll burn out trying to monitor the class 24/7. And then create a schedule that works for both you and your students. For me also, don't wait until the closing week or period to start grading those assignments. Grade them often and provide that encouraging feedback. And I would always send reminder messages, even though they would always know when they were due. I would give them kind of a countdown. Okay, you have 2 days to finish this assignment. Then it's due tomorrow, and then you have till midnight tonight. And just keep reminding them over and over. We want to make sure that your hours would accommodate all these varying student schedules so that you can engage everyone, because again, they're going to have different time commitments throughout the day. Everyone has a different situation. So for me, I would also, first thing in the morning, check messages, make sure I go through. I would always do a check right before going to bed in the evening, just to make sure if somebody was out there that was struggling and needed my help, and then set those office hours that would work for everyone. So I think in closing my portion here, I want to say, get up, move around, have a laugh with a colleague or a loved one, because we do need to have humor in our life right now. So Michelle or Kate, did you want to close out here with any additional questions or comments?
Sure, I'd like to just say, hey, we are really thinking about you guys right now. We want to help you in any way that we can. Kate's going to talk about some ways that we can reach you and the topic matter that you want to cover. Know that we are here. We'll continue to be here as often as you need us to be here. We appreciate all the hard work that you're going through right now. We wish you the best, and just stay tuned. We will definitely make certain that you get a copy of all of the information that came in the chat box, and we'll attempt to answer any questions before sending those out for questions that you have for us. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Kate.
Okay, Stacy, can you advance the slides just one more time? Okay. The last thing that we really want you to drop into that chat box is what your top performing engagement strategies have been so far. I think this is obviously a huge pressing issue for so many of you who are just trying to get your learners to connect with one another and connect to the content they're supposed to be learning. So any tips you can provide, we would appreciate it. And as you are dropping those tips in, I am going to launch 2 final polls. We will get you guys out of here probably just about 5 minutes early, so that should help with your busy days. This first poll is really straightforward. Would you like us to continue hosting Community Connect forums like this? Obviously, we are going to do our best in the future to try to figure out how to bring some of you live so that you can speak and contribute, because we think that would be hugely of value. Certainly, this is our first time exploring this path, so we appreciate your patience. Okay. Overwhelmingly, the answer is yes. So, next question is, how often would you like these Community Connect forums to occur? I'll give you about 30 seconds to answer that. And after you've answered the poll, I would love for you all to drop into the chat box. What topics would you like to discuss during future forum topics or future Community Connect forums? We want to make sure that we are addressing the things that matter to you most, especially as you progress through the next few weeks and move towards testing and exams, etc. I know that there's a lot on your mind, so drop those different topics into the chat box. I'm going to end this poll real quick and share the results. It looks like weekly or bi-weekly are the winners, and we will do our best to make something of that nature happen. Okay, folks. I'm going to give it just another minute or so for you to drop in future topic ideas. And then Stacy, can you keep advancing the slides? Oh, keep going. Okay, so the last part, I have put up my email address here. If there is anyone who is live here in this meeting participating in the chat box but would love to participate as a panelist, or if you have specific ideas for how we can make this session even better, I would love for you to email me directly. My email address is kate.ressler@nhanow.com. If you want to just provide some feedback too, I'd love to hear from you. So please, please reach out. We are here for you. We want to do everything that we possibly can to support your continuous learning as you explore this online world. And we hope that you have a great rest of the week, folks. We really appreciate your attending.
And Kate, would you also be giving feedback in the Q&A portion too? Are we going to make sure we address all those questions as well?
We do have those questions. We will do our best to reach out to everybody who dropped questions in there. And I will say, I know some of you are awaiting information on things like testing, other resources. You can always reach out to your certification specialist. They are there to help you. We are working as diligently as we can to get more information for you on some of these pressing matters, and we will hopefully be able to communicate with you really soon on next steps for testing, etc. Right now, we're gathering more information and trying to figure out all those details to make it as seamless as possible for you.
And I want to say thank you all for attending and giving us part of your day, and hopefully this was helpful, and we'll move forward as we can and keep these community forums going. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks, everybody. Have a great day.
Bye.
Bye, everyone.